yeah. Lit. That's awesome. So, how's everybody doing? Good. And the lights are still blinding. I went to fix them during that last song, and I still cannot see what's going on in front of me. I can see Braden, and that's like it. So if you're not paying attention, I can't see you, but leaders, you can help me out if you want. But I'm going to jump right into things tonight. So this series is the Storyteller. So I know two great storytellers. The first one you know in person. He might be in the room right now. His name's Justin Wallace. And the reason why I'm saying this is I've known him, it's been like 10 plus years now. And I don't know why. He does this randomly, but he likes to talk about him jumping off waterfalls. Now, I don't know why. Maybe the adrenaline rush. Yada, yada, yada. I just heard a door shut behind me, and I'm getting distracted already. But the second great storyteller is Jesus. And y'all know who that is as well. But we're going to be jumping into Luke 15 in just a second. But the reason why I told you about Justin is we're going to go through some parables throughout this series. I don't know how long it is, so it could be like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. But we're going to jump right into things. We're going to Luke 15, chapter 15, verse 1, and we're just going to jump right into it. Tax collectors and other notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus teach. So right here, right off the bat, we see that bad people like to hang out with Jesus. And in this era, you often knew who your bad crowd was and who your good crowd was. So your good crowd would be more like the religious officials, and then the bad crowd would be like your taxpayers and so on. And sorry, I'm thirsty. Can someone get me a bottle of water? I'm sorry, that is so random. My throat is parched. So I'm like choking up here. But, I mean, the good crowd was like, it was irking them a little, not a little bit, but a lot, that they were hanging around, Jesus was hanging around with the bad crowd. And then we jump in to verse 2. This made the Pharisees and the teachers of religious law complain that he was, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, y'all see that? Okay, we're going to start that from the top. We're moving on to verse 2. And while it's, this made the Pharisees and the teachers of religious law complain that he was associating with such sinful people, even eating with them. Now here we can kind of see these religious officials weren't willing to, minister to the bad crowd. And so it's easy to look like, oh, Jesus is doing this for them. I shouldn't have to. And if you put it in today's terms, it becomes much harder to invite these people to church at this point. For those of us who are church people, sometimes we can't help but look down on people that don't have it all together. And then maybe we even question their character. And then you may see someone from school walk in. Your friend at church might not know him, but you see him in your head, you're like, why is that person here? Like we kind of judge them as they're walking in. And so, Christians do kind of get that jive as like judgmental and hypocrite sometimes. I'm so sorry. It's water, so it's healthy. And now, maybe you find yourself on the other side of the equation. Maybe you consider yourself to be on like the bad crowd, like the sinner. And so, while it was awesome that people like thousands of years ago hung out with Jesus, today you don't feel accepted by the religious crowd today. And whether what side you're on, we feel like in order to be with God, we have to behave a certain way. Like we feel like, oh, the good religious people, they have it all together. They can only be with God. But I'm over here they don't like me because I'm bad and I can't be with him. And now we're gonna skip down a little bit. We're gonna go to verse 11, and it goes like, there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, "Father, give me the share of the estate." So he divided the property between them. And so, reading this, like I kind of interpret it like, hey, Dad, I know you're going to die. I don't know when you're going to die, and I'm a little impatient. So give me my money, and I want it now, kind of deal. Like, have y'all seen like the J.G. Wentworth commercial? Like, it's like my money, and I want it now. That's kind of like how he was acting like. And then we're going to move to verse 13. And not long after that, the younger son got together all he had. He set off for the distant country and squandered all his wealth in wild living. And, like, for example, I'm going to hand Annie $300, okay? What are you going to do with that $300 as soon as I give it to you? Spend it all. On what? Bro, like, for me, I'm moving out to L.A. You give me, like, millions of dollars. I'm moving out to L.A., and I'm throwing, like, the raddest party of, like, 2021 when Corona's not a thing. And I'm buying, like, no joke, I'm buying the biggest house. I'm going to Chick-fil-A every Saturday being like, hey, I need, like, 2,000 nuggets. I need all the Chick-fil-A sauce and Polynesian sauce. And then Pitbull's going to be performing every week because we're going to get turned. And then, for my beverage of choice, we're going to have Dr. Pepper. I mean that, right there, I mean, that sounds like one heck of a party, just saying. Just thought I'd throw that out there. But then we move on into verses 14 through 16. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in the whole country, and he began in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country who sent him to fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. So this man went from being in L.A., living it up, eating chicken nuggets and drinking Dr. Pepper, to eating what pigs eat in a matter of, we don't know how long, so this could have been like a year or two down the road. Man's broke. And then he kind of is like, oh, I kind of screwed up. So we're going to move further in the story. When he, the younger son, came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have food to spare? Here I am, starving to death. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. So he got up and went to his father. Now this man realized, my father's servants are living better than I am. They're making some bread, and they get to eat. I'm outside eating pig slop. I mean, that's a big difference. I made it further that time. But then the story easily could have ended like as soon as like he saw his father, but we move on. But while the younger son was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Yeah, he could have got some pig slop in that kiss. Who knows? I heard one of y'all go, ugh, over there. But homie could have like got home and you know when you ever like you mess up and like the first thing your parents do is like scream at you for, I don't know how long it is, but maybe like 5-10 minutes. Not like scream, but like yelling at you in love, like, hey, you messed up. But then we move on. Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. So that's like a Gucci robe. Like he got the best of the best. So he went to Gucci and bought his son a robe. Okay, Brent, you're slacking. And put a ring on his fingers and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate, for the son of mine was dead and alive again. He was lost and is found, so they began to celebrate. So this man, I don't want to say like he went to his backyard and like killed a cow, like right on the spot and brought it, or a goat, whatever. Let's just say in today's terms, he went to Outback and like got like the family meal that feeds like 4 for like $30 or whatever. He got the good stuff for his son. But now we're going to go back to the audience Jesus was talking about. And we're going to bring that back in. So on one hand, you have the bad crowd. So the bad crowd interpreting this could easily have been like, homie like blew all his dad's money, didn't get punished for it. He was doing stupid things and did get punished for it, so he gonna go do it again. But on the other hand, you got the religious crowd being like, dude messed up, why not punish him? Like, we all know he messed up. But then Jesus moves on in the story. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him, but he answered his father, look, all these years I have been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when his son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. My son, the father said, you are always with me and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because the brother of yours was dead and is alive again and was lost and is found. And at the end of this, I don't know if older brother decided to show up to the party or not. He easily could have just like stayed home and cried upstairs. You know, I don't know what y'all do when y'all are sad or mad. Like go upstairs, shut the door, and start like crying a river. But we don't know if he attended the party. But there's a main point here: enjoy the party. I mean, homie didn't deserve to have the party. Honestly, he like blew all his father's money for no reason, and then came back, didn't deserve it. But when you think about it, we didn't deserve to have Jesus come die for our sins either. So, like, even though you don't deserve it, enjoy it. I mean, you're in the moment, just enjoy the party. So that if for some of you that means go to Chuck E. Cheese, go to Chuck E. Cheese. So enjoy it. Play all them arcade games and maybe get Rona. But then we move back to the audience that Jesus was talking to. They got a totally different meaning out of it. You don't have to be fixed to be found. And this story frustrated the living mess out of the good crowd, the religious officials, because it made Jesus feel soft on sin. And, I mean, there's a reason the father was like this. I mean, he loved his son. And, the son knew he messed up. But the father in the moment was like, man, you could have been dead. I mean, I see your mistakes. I'm going to erase it, but I see you. I don't let your past define who you are now. I mean, you're in my arms, and I love you. And also the cool part of this is the story still applies today. I mean, number one, for people who think they've gone too far and messed up too much and done too many bad things, Jesus says, I'll never give up on you. I mean, you may think that I don't want to name things because we've all done stupid things, but you may thinking that, like, I'm too far to be found, and Jesus was like, I died for you. I want to have a relationship with you. And all it takes for us sometimes is us to be willing to be like, hey, let's do it. Let's party. And on the second hand, you got those of us who, I'm going to say, quote, unquote, have it together, because none of us actually have it together. And for the people who are making good decisions and doing right things, Jesus says, don't ever give up on someone else. You may hate the person you sit next to in class. They may be the most annoying person. But at heart, you know, they're a good person at heart. You may hate them. And maybe you take an act of courage and be like, hey, come to church with me. And, you know, they do like a 180. And I don't care what you've done. Jesus doesn't care what you've done to an extent or what your past looks like, because no matter where you are, what you've done, you are worth fighting, and your value doesn't change because of that. And I got one last question for you. Who are you in the story? And that's rhetorical. Please don't answer that out loud. Are you the good kid in the story? Think about some of the friends you've lost. Ask yourself, if Jesus doesn't think they need to be fixed or be found, why do I? I mean, you might be sitting next to someone in class, church, whatever things you do. Be like, oh, I think Jesus can use them or whatever, but we ultimately don't get to decide when they get saved. I mean, it's up to them. And it's not like a Jesus, you, and them thing. It's a them and Jesus thing, and we try to, some way in relationships, trying to bring us into the equation when it's not about us. Or maybe this week you take time to show someone who doesn't feel loved, show them some compassion. Or make them feel loved, because sometimes you don't know the situations of people at home. I mean, they could have the worst home life, and you show up to school every day and like bully them to an extent. Or maybe you find yourself on the other side of the equation. Maybe you feel like the young son. Maybe you feel like you screwed up. Maybe you feel like, you're not worthy enough. And you don't come to church because you feel disqualified from it almost, because of the people here. And we should be the last reason why someone doesn't come to church. But I got good news for everybody. Jesus always has open arms for someone like you. You may have lost your way, but you haven't lost your value. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. And I'm going to have the final point up here again. Just remember, you don't have to be fixed to be found. The son came home. He was still a mess. You still might be a mess. Your friend may be a mess, but people come home messy. The Father is the only one who can receive you, redeem you, and restore you. You may lose your way, but you'll never lose your value. And you can go to God just as you are, and you can help others do the same. I'll say that was really quick, but I'm going to pray us out, and we can go to small groups. Everybody across the room, there's a bunch of y'all here today, but just bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to be here today. Thank you for the Hurricane Sally to not be here yet and be downpouring on us, but we also pray for the people who have been affected by this hurricane. I pray for everybody in this room that you make them feel worthy, that they know they are loved, and that you know that you're always there 24/7, and that we can come to you whenever we need to or want to. I thank you for Justin, Bethany, and all the leaders in here for all the hard work they do for us to make this environment a safe place. And in your name, I pray, amen.
Awesome. Before you go to group, hey, yeah, thank you, Christian. Y'all give it up for Austin, man. Now, some of you may not believe this, but it is so much harder to do what he just did than it is to sit in the seat where you are. It is so much harder to do that. So I appreciate Austin, the hard work that he does. I mean, you guys don't see it, but every week he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes back in this room and trying to get this stuff up and running for us. So he rocks. He's awesome. He was a student, and now he's a leader, so that's a cool thing. So before we head off into our small groups, I do want to share something. So the reason that we did not have food tonight, who loves food? All right. Now, if you know me, do I love food? Yes. Yeah, man. Oh my goodness, I love some food. So here's the situation, though. As much as I love food, I love to honor God more. And so last week, I don't think we did a good job honoring God. I'm not trying to beat y'all up, but I don't think that people left a mess on purpose. I just think y'all are probably similar to my kids, where it's like, oh my gosh, food, stop hanging out. Oh, doors are open, let's go, boom. And they're not thinking about it. And I think for most of y'all, you're probably just not thinking about it. And so you move from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. But what I'm saying is, man, I need y'all's help. Next week, we want to have food. I'm planning to have pizza here. I'm planning to have drinks and snacks here. I want to have food. but I need you guys to help me out. The patio was crazy last week. The lobby was a mess last week. So, and in this worship area, this is kind of our sanctuary. We just ask for no food and drinks. And so I know that even tonight there was some of that brought in here. Man, that's just out of respect. So if you guys can help me with that, that would be awesome. To end on a high note, are y'all ready for this? Yes. This is officially the largest collision night we've ever had. Yeah. You guys, that's right. You guys are a part of history right now. But next week could be the next history-making event. So you guys go ahead and head out to your small groups. We'll start with, let's do this kind of somewhat with structure. My high schoolers, you guys go ahead and head off first. Middle school, just wait a second. High school, go ahead and head out. If you're in the room and you have no idea what you're supposed to do or where you're supposed to go, you can hang tight. All right? Because of space, we do need some people to go outside. That would be awesome. Okay, so 7th grade guys. Austin, y'all are going to hang here? Okay, y'all are going to hang here. My middle school girls, y'all go ahead and head out. Middle school girls, y'all go ahead and head out. All right, my 6th grade guys, where's Nate? Nate, y'all just go find Nate, my 6th grade guys. All right, and then my 8th grade guys, where's Mike and Donnie? There's Mike, my 8th grade guys, y'all find Mike right there. Mike is right here. All right, everyone left, so I guess everyone knows what they're doing.